You are sitting in a room with 10 other people, and you are quietly certain you are the smartest one there. You did the math in your head faster. You caught the flaw in the plan before anyone else. And yet, 3 years later, you watch the guy who couldn't spell entrepreneur close on a second house while you refresh your bank app hoping the number moved. $243, that's your checking balance. And you have a genius level score on a test you took in the 8th grade, framed somewhere in a drawer. Here's the thing nobody tells you at the awards ceremony. Intelligence and net worth are not the same ladder. They barely touch. And the sooner you understand exactly where they split, the sooner you stop being the smartest broke person in every room you walk into. So let me walk you up the tiers. Not IQ points on a chart, the real levels, where your brain power either builds a fortune or quietly traps you in a life beneath your ability. Stay with me, because the level that makes the most money is not the one you'd guess. Level 1. You're at the bottom. The world sees you and assumes you can't handle much. And honestly, a lot of the time the world is right. You take instructions literally. You struggle to plan past next Friday. Someone hands you a form and your stomach drops because the words swim. Money, for you, is a river that flows in on payday and out by Tuesday. You earn $12, $14 an hour, and every dollar has a job before it arrives. There's no cushion. A flat tire is a crisis. A sick kid is a catastrophe. And here's the cruel part. The system charges you more for being here. The overdraft fee, the payday loan at 400%, the rent-to-own couch that costs 3 times the sticker. You pay a tax for not being able to see 2 moves ahead. You're not lazy. You're just standing at the base of a mountain nobody ever showed you how to climb. And the terrain itself is designed to keep you spending energy just to stay in place. Level 2. Now you're average. You're most people. You finished school, maybe some college. You can follow a budget if you sit down and force yourself. You hold a steady job, 45,000, maybe 55 a year, and you are competent, reliable. The kind of person a company loves to have because you show up, you do the work, and you don't ask uncomfortable questions. And that's exactly the trap. Your intelligence is high enough to do valuable work, and just low enough that you never question who's capturing the value you create. You trade 8 hours for a fixed number, and that number barely moves no matter how good you get. You buy the car with the 5-year loan. You get the mortgage. You feel, most months, like you're doing fine. But do the math you never do. After the house, the payments, the daycare, the insurance, you're saving maybe $200 a month. At that rate, retirement is a rumor. You are smart enough to run the machine and comfortable enough to never ask why you're not the one who owns it. That comfort is the most expensive thing you'll ever buy. Level 3. Here's where it gets interesting, because this is the level everyone thinks is the finish line. You're bright, genuinely bright. Top 10%, maybe top 5. You crushed standardized tests. You got into a good school, and the adults around you nodded and said the words that ruined a generation of smart kids. They said, you can be anything. So you became the professional. Doctor, lawyer, engineer, senior analyst at a firm with a marble lobby. You make good money now. Real money. 150, 200, maybe 250 a year. And you feel like you made it. Look closer. You are the most profitable employee your firm has ever seen. And you don't even realize it. You bill the client $1,200 an hour. You see, maybe 180 of it. The partner who owns the letterhead pockets the difference while you're in the office at 9 at night, proud of your work ethic. Your intelligence became the product. And a product, no matter how premium, gets sold by whoever owns the shelf. You optimized for being the best answer to someone else's question. You never learned to ask your own. You have the horsepower of an owner and the mindset of an employee. And that gap, that exact gap, is where your net worth stalls out around 1 or 2 million and simply refuses to grow. Because here's the quiet secret of this level. The smarter you are as an employee, the more valuable it is for someone else to keep you as one. Your brilliance is their asset, and they will pay you just enough to keep you from ever wondering whose name is really on the door. Level 4. Now something shifts, and it has almost nothing to do with your test score. You might be that same top 5% brain, or you might be the guy from 3 years ago who couldn't spell entrepreneur. Doesn't matter anymore, because at this level, you stopped selling your intelligence by the hour and started renting other people's. This is the owner. You still work, but the work is different now. You're not solving the problem yourself. You're finding the person who solves it, and you're keeping the spread. Think about what actually happened. You hired the level 3 genius, the one billing 1,200 an hour, and you pay him 200 grand a year to make you 2 million. You own the shelf now. You own the letterhead. And here's the part that stings for every brilliant employee still grinding at 9 at night. Being the owner does not require you to be the smartest person in the building. It requires you to be comfortable being the dumbest person in the room and signing the checks anyway. That's the switch nobody flips, because their ego won't let them. The genius wants to be right. The owner wants to be rich. And he learned those are frequently opposite goals. You buy the small business doing 400 grand in profit. You put 20% down, the bank covers the rest, and you never touch a wrench because you hired someone who does. Your money starts working the shift you used to work. And for the first time in your life, you make money while you sleep, while you're on a beach, while you're doing absolutely nothing. That feeling, that specific feeling of waking up richer than you went to bed, that's the drug that separates this level from everyone below it. Once you feel it, you can never go back to trading hours for dollars again. It ruins you for employment in the best possible way. Level 5. And this is the one you would never have guessed at the top of the mountain. Because up here, intelligence circles all the way back around and stops mattering the way you thought it did. At the very top, it's not about IQ at all. It's about leverage and the willingness to be misunderstood. Look at the people worth hundreds of millions, the ones worth billions. Some of them are genuinely brilliant, sure, but a shocking number of them would bomb your 8th grade test. What they have instead is a nervous system built for risk that would liquefy a smarter man. They can hold a position while everyone screams they're wrong. They can bet the entire company on a hunch and sleep 8 hours that night. They understand the 4 forms of leverage, and they stack all of them. Other people's labor, other people's money, and the two the modern world made infinite: code and media. A piece of software that serves 1 million people while you sleep. A video that sells for you at 3 in the morning to a stranger in a country you've never visited. This is leverage with no marginal cost, no permission required, no one to split the check with. The level 3 genius trades his one brain for one salary. The level 5 operator borrows 1,000 brains, $1 billion of other people's capital, and an audience of millions, and points all of it at a single idea. Your intelligence, up here, is not the engine, it's the steering wheel. And a steering wheel with no engine behind it just spins in your hands while the smart broke man wonders why the wheel isn't enough. So think back to that room. 10 people, and you the certain smartest one. You caught the flaw in the plan first. And that was true. You were right. You were also, 3 years later, refreshing an app that said $243, while the guy who couldn't spell it closed on his second house. Now you know why. He wasn't smarter than you. He was never smarter than you. He just stopped trying to be the best answer and started asking who owned the question. He picked up leverage while you polished your intelligence like a trophy in a drawer. Here's what nobody says at the awards ceremony and what you'll carry out of this room. Intelligence is horsepower. Impressive, roaring, and completely useless with no wheels, no road, and no one willing to floor it. The smartest person in the room and the richest person in the room are almost never the same person. And the day you stop needing to be the first one is the exact day you become the second. The test you took in 8th grade measured how well you answer. It never once asked whether you'd own the room where the questions get made, so frame it or burn it. Then go build the shelf.